Yo, what is up? It's Rowdy Gage Q back. I apologize for missing the week 3 NFL predictions. I was a little under the weather, and by the time the weekend came around, it was too late for me to make predictions. And I already missed Dolphins Bengals, so I'll go over that a little bit at the beginning of this video. But I have the week 4 NFL predictions, so we're getting back on track right here. So I'm still a little under the weather, so you got to bear with me for this one, okay? So let's get into it. So first off, prayers up or whatever. What happened to Tua was sad, and I saw that the doctor already got fired. I guess the guy that I don't want to make assumptions without looking into it, but maybe the doctor from the previous game when they said he had the back injury. I think that doctor got fired. But yeah, that I was in class, but I went and saw that on social media, and that hit was brutal. He got ragdolled into the ground, so I hope he's better. Um, yeah, that's first and foremost. But overall, I actually expected the Bengals to get the dub because the first 2 weeks, I think there's a bit of an overreaction. I mean, I think Joe Burrow is going to get sacked a lot regardless, unless he gets the ball quicker. But I don't think that's his play style, and I don't know if that's a bad thing. And the Dolphins defense, the secondary in particular, had been kind of iffy. And I think that the Bengals have the best receiving threat in the league. So I wasn't too surprised that the Bengals got a dub. The Dolphins were going to lose eventually. They might have won if Tua was still in there, but yeah, I had the Bengals winning. So let's get on to Sunday. So the London game, Vikings at Saints. I'm gonna have the Vikings 20 to the Saints 14, and I have Dalvin Cook as my impact player. I saw that Jameis is out, and I'm pretty sure that Michael Thomas is out too. Um, so I don't think it's gonna be too high scoring of an affair. The Vikings offense has struggled a little bit. Well, particular Justin Jefferson, he's kind of cooled off since that first week one. He went ridiculously crazy that game. So I think he might have been a safe bet, but Marshall Lattimore's probably gonna want to match up with them. So I had Dalvin Cook as the impact player. He gets the ball dumped off a lot. He's a good receiver. He's probably gonna be their number one weapon this game. So yeah, I have Dalvin Cook as my impact player. And hopefully Justin Jefferson scores a lot so he can do the gritty for the London audience. But yeah. So my next game is Seahawks at Lions. I have the Lions winning 28 to the Seahawks 17. And I have Amon-Ra St. Brown as the impact player. He's beginning to establish himself as a premier receiver. I mean, he's probably already done it, but he's working his way into that upper echelon, like top 10 receivers. And I don't think the Seahawks have a great secondary. So I wouldn't be surprised if Amon-Ra St. Brown's targeted a lot. This is a safe bet. I keep saying it. This Lions offense is really good, except for Jared Goff. But I mean, you got to give Jared Goff credit. He's looked really good this year. It's probably been the best Jared Goff since like the Super Bowl. But yeah, the Seahawks week one thing maybe it was a little bit of a mirage. They might have just been hyped up for Russell Wilson coming back. But yeah, I have the Lions winning in a comfortable fashion. So the next game, Jets at Steelers. I have the Steelers winning 17 to the Jets 14. Zach Wilson's coming back, but this is a good defense, even without TJ Watt that he's coming back against. And so I have Cameron Hayward as the impact player. This is Jets O-line. They've invested in it, but I think it's okay. But Cameron Hayward's like a borderline Hall of Famer. So I wouldn't be surprised if he sacks a young quarterback a couple times. You could say Minkah Fitzpatrick is the impact player too. But yeah, I don't think this is going to be too high scoring and unfair. The Jets, well, Ahmad Gardner's put in work. So I don't know if the Jets defense is that good, but they have young talent that's developing over there. But yeah, I don't know how much longer the Steelers are going to roll out Mitch Trubisky, to be honest. I mean, it depends on how you look at it because if you think Kenny Pickett's ready, then he should already be out there. But that's a whole nother video debate whether you should put rookie quarterbacks out there instantly or if they develop. But yeah, Steelers 17, Jets 14 in a slog fest or not a very exciting game. So next Bears at Giants. I have the Giants winning 17 and the Bears 10. Um the Cowboys were struggling a bit till the end there of that game. last week, or last Monday. But I had Saquon. I mean, Saquon went off, and I have Saquon as my impact player this week. It's honestly incredible seeing how he's bounced back. Like even as like a division rival, I'm impressed. I'm happy for Saquon after what he's been through these past years, like tearing his ACL. He's really looked like he's gained back his ability his rookie year, and you don't see that in running backs. That just goes to show how much of a freak in his work ethic Saquon has. But yeah, Giants 17, Bears 10. This Bears defense is good, but I don't know if they're going to be really able to stop the run. Um, I got to give credit to Daniel Jones too. Outside of that pick and a couple missed throws, he looked good against the Cowboys. If you put like Matt Ryan back that game in that pocket, he would have gotten sacked like 10 times plus. Like you got to give Daniel Jones credit for how he was able to move out of the pocket. There was one play he got called back for something where he finally hit Kenny Galladay, and I was like, wow. Like I was just sitting in my chair saying that was impressive. Like that was maybe like a top 5 play of the season so far. But yeah, I'm not gonna go too in depth with every team this video, but yeah, the Bears offense, I feel bad for Justin Fields, man, because I'm hearing like talks of how he's not Eberflus's guy, which we don't know that for sure. But if you're the Bears front office, you need to step in and say, hey, like we spent 2 first-round picks on this guy. We need to help him out. Like I know you didn't have any first-round picks in this last draft. The Jaquan Brisker pick has paid off, but you needed to spend that other second-round pick on a receiver. Like I said, I don't want to get into depth with all this, like every team, but this is the last thing I'll say. Like new coaches need to come in, and if there's a young quarterback, they got to forego like their defensive biases or whatever, and they got to help these quarterbacks out because that's how you're going to save your job. Because the Bears defense has been good overall since like 2018, but I mean that's not protecting Matt Nagy's job. Like you got to help these quarterbacks out, and maybe Justin Fields isn't it, but I don't think it's going to be fair to go into this next draft and like trade up or just get another quarterback when for 2 years you haven't done anything to help Fields. And the Giants have made attempts to help Daniel Jones. I won't be surprised if they actually signed him back. I mean, it's early, like anything could change, but yeah, I need to move on to the next team. So Titans at Colts. I have the Colts winning 24 to the Titans 21. The I mean, you can say just because it's hindsight's 2020, but honestly, I was not surprised that the Colts beat the Chiefs. That was the type of game that the Colts would win. I mean, Matt Ryan looked accurate. Yes, the Chiefs shot themselves in the foot, but um I forgot really who went off last game. I know Jelani Woods, the rookie tight end, had a couple touchdowns, but for this game, I have JT as the impact player. They need to Frank Reich needs to run the football. Like the rookie receivers, Alec Pierce and Jelani Woods look good. Michael Pittman's good, but Jonathan Taylor, I'll say he's a transcendent talent. You have to use that guy like 20 plus touches a game. I know maybe to spell him, you get another running back in the upcoming draft, but you got to use this guy, man. He is so good, and he'll carry you to games. We've seen that last season. Derrick Henry got his swagger back, but I still the Colts winning 24-21. I think the Titans are grasping for straws, but that's not a team you want to sleep on because that's a desperate team. Well, not a desperate team, but they're a hungry team. That's not a team. That's a team that's not going to get knocked down easily. Next game, Chargers at Texans. I think Herbert's going to get his revenge game. I have the Chargers winning 24-14 and Herbert as my impact player. Last season, the Chargers lost their playoff berth with that Texans game. That was like the one game where they would say we needed that back. That was a game they shouldn't have lost. I don't know if Keenan Allen's playing, and man, you got to give it to Chargers fans. That stinks. How often that team is getting injured, how snake bitten they are. Losing your left tackle, I'm not gonna lie. I think that's probably like the nail in the coffin for this. I don't know if I'd put them in my Super Bowl contenders anymore, But Justin Herbert is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I think they win relatively comfortably. They still have weapons. The Texans aren't that good. They might be getting JC Jackson back, but yeah, as long as Justin Herbert stops throwing like maybe it's just when I watch it, but as long as Justin Herbert stops throwing red zone interceptions, I think that the Chargers are next year or maybe this year if they actually get all these players back could win a Super Bowl. It's just sometimes, and I mean this goes up to Brandon Staley too. Sometimes the decision making um just doesn't pan out at the right times. And then plus the defense needs to get tooled up a bit. I don't know if the defense is living up to the hype, but all right, anyway. And from now on, I think I'm actually going to give more insight into all these teams. It might make my videos longer, but I think it gives a better understanding like why I'm picking these scores. And I think just talking about teams in general is pretty fun. So Browns at Falcons for the next game. I have the Browns winning 24 to the Falcons 21. Jacoby Brissett's been better than I thought he'd be. Nick Chubb's my impact player. I mean, outside of Jonathan Taylor, I think him and Jonathan Taylor are the two best pure running backs. And by that, I mean just running, like you don't factor in receiving because Nick Chubb doesn't really do that much. But like bell cow, strength, agility, just straight up running through the gut, running outside. I think him and Jonathan Taylor are the best. Um, yeah, Amari Cooper, that was a really good trade. I just think that the league is lower on that guy than the fans, but that was a good trade. He will pan off. He will pan. Yeah, that trade will pan off a lot, or however you say, pan out. That trade will pan out a lot if they get better receiving weapons, and then Deshaun comes back and plays well. I could see them being a threat or powerhouse in the future. The defense is good, but I got to give the Falcons credit. Mariota's played pretty good, but this team, um, I think they're not. I think they're going to get like a high top 3 pick, and I think they should go with like Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. If this team gets an elite quarterback, they are going to be scary in the future. That offense is going to be scary. I don't know if Arthur Smith is going to be the coach, but Drake London has looked really good. He was my receiver 1 in last draft. I just don't understand. Like I thought he was a complete prospect. I really did. Like maybe you can knock him for speed, but for a guy that's that tall, I thought he ran routes great. I thought he was smart. I thought he knew when to sit in routes. I think he was quarterback friendly. He was a target monster. And Kyle Pitts, he didn't do too much at the beginning of the season, but we saw last season. I mean, that guy's a freak. And then you add Cordell Patterson onto that. I mean, he's always been good as a returner, but now he's established himself as like a Pro Bowl running back. Yeah, I don't know what keeps getting on my lip. But yeah, Cordell Patterson. Then they're gonna get Calvin Ridley back next year. But yeah, I mean, if they get the O line situated and maybe get like one more weapon and a quarterback, the team's got to look out for the Falcons because that offense could be explosive in the upcoming years. But I still have the Browns winning this game 24-21. So Commanders at Cowboys for the next game. I have the Cowboys winning 24, Commanders 21, and I have Micah Parsons as my impact player. I'm not gonna lie, I could see the Commanders winning this game because their type of receivers scare me. The Cowboys defense is top 5 minimum this year. They have looked really good. I know people were saying that the defense was going to regress from last season, but I mean, call me a Cowboys fan, but I thought they were going to improve because last season I think that they were very reliant on boom or bust or making big plays. There were still games where they got gashed, but this season they've settled down. I mean, if they stop committing dumb penalties, they'd be blowing some of these teams out, I think. And the pass rush is even better. Uh I mean, Tank Lawrence, I don't know if he had like a pressure the first 2 weeks, 3 sacks. Dante Fowler was a good signing. Dorrance Armstrong has exceeded expectations for Cowboys fans. And I think Micah was sick, so that's why I have him as my impact player. I think he's going to be hungry to take the lead in the sack race. And the Washington O line's not good, and Carson Wentz is mistake prone. But the reason I think this game is going to be close is because I think that the Cowboys' defense is susceptible to quick plays or plays that break down outside the pocket. Like you saw Daniel Jones scramble and make plays. And when everyone blitzed or everyone rushed and the middle of the field was wide open, he took off and got first downs. I think Carson Wentz can do that. And I think that these receivers are shifty and are able to get open quicker, get in find open spaces quickly. And I think that the Cowboys defense might be susceptible to that. The quick dump offs, I think that that's the Cowboys' weakness. Um, I think the Cowboys need linebacker help. I know that the linebackers have played good, but I think if this team got like a Luke Kuechly, I mean, that's a little bit of a reach, but like a middle linebacker that you could tell Micah, hey, you don't have to care for run duties or pass coverage duties or identifying. Like if you just got like a bell cow linebacker that could do everything, it cut off runs to the outside, this team would be unstoppable, or this defense would be unstoppable. The offense, they finally gone to the run game. Finally, two-person system. I'm not a big fan of like running back committees, but Micah and Zeke really do complement each other well. Or not Mike, Tony and Zeke really do complement each other well. And this Cowboys offense, when they're going up tempo, that's when they're getting most of their success because you can rotate the running backs in, keep them fresh, keep them healthy, keep the defense on their toes, play action, and then you get CeeDee Lamb open for big shots down the field. Sorry, I'm talking too much about the Cowboys, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Commanders won. I think that Cowboys fans are going to be a little cocky, but the Commanders can sling it. That's what I like saying about Carson Wentz. So I would not sleep on the Commanders. Next game, Jaguars at Eagles. These are like the two biggest glow up teams of the season. And the two things, or the one thing in common with both of these teams, and this is the thing that I hate about the Cowboys organization the most. When you spend money on premium free agents, your team gets better. It just shows. The Bengals did the same thing last season with Cheeto, Awuzie, Trey Hendrickson from the Saints, Mike Hilton. They paying money. I mean, you got to pay money to get good players. That's how the economy works. Sometimes teams luck out and get like veteran players on cheap contracts. Like I forgot the name of the tackle that the Cowboys signed, but regardless, the Eagles paid Kazir White from the Chargers. That's a signing. I don't understand why the Chargers didn't sign him back. I thought he was their best linebacker last season. You trade for AJ Brown, who's going to be a borderline Hall of Famer receiver. Bring in the cornerback from the Giants, Bradbury. You just pay for people, and then the Jaguars. We all laughed at the Christian Kirk trade. That's been not the trade, but the signing. That's probably been the signing of the season. He has looked like a Pro Bowl receiver. You got the O-line a little situated. You Foye Oluokun, I think that was the guy from the Falcons. He was underrated last season. They have spent a bunch of picks on the defensive front seven. Trayvon Walker was the first overall pick. Devin Lloyd dropped. I thought he'd go earlier. I was surprised he dropped, probably because it was 40 time, but he's looked good. That's the thing that happens when you pay premium free agents, your team gets better. Now, that's not to guarantee like success in the long run, but I think more teams need to pay attention to what the Eagles and Jags have done, what the Rams did last season. You got to sacrifice for good talent. You got to either pay premium money or you got to pay spend draft picks, and it goes to show that it works. So yeah, Eagles 28, Jags 24, AJ Brown as my impact player. I think the Jags defense is pretty good in the back half, but AJ Brown's a beast, and I think he's clutch too. He'll take some people down the sideline with them, drag them. But yeah, the Eagles winning. But this game could go either way. Bills at Ravens. I have the Ravens at 31, Bills 28. I mean, I don't like the Bills, but man, those injuries stink. They really do. Like losing Micah Hyde, you don't have Trey White back yet, and I know other people are injured. Like, I don't know. I like they are no longer my Super Bowl favorites. Lamar is the MVP right now, or he's in the conversation. The Yeah, maybe it's not going to be that high scoring game, but Lamar's just getting the job done with whoever. Him and Mark Andrews is maybe like the best duo in the league besides Cup and Stafford. Um, but the Ravens secondary is bad. Josh Allen, uh, and the Bills are one of the best passing attacks. So I think they're going to get a lot of passing touchdowns on them, but I think the Ravens win in the end. And Lamar continues his case to break the bank when the Ravens should have paid him to begin with. Uh, the Ravens are a good drafting team, but they don't draft receivers well, even though the receivers have looked good recently. Like Lamar can just do it all. Like they're going to regret not paying him earlier. And if they don't pay him, that's going to be crazy. It's going to be insane. So next game, Cardinals at Panthers. I have the Cardinals winning 21, Panthers 17. I have Kyler as the impact player. Um, yeah, I don't know if both of these offenses are that good. Like they have good talent, like CMC. Like DJ Moore has been MIA. I haven't watched the games, and I'm salty because I have DJ in fantasy. I've heard people say Baker's just not looking at him, but they got to get that situated because you paid DJ a fat contract, and he's your number one receiver, and like don't trade him because he's young. You know, you don't need to trade him, but they got to get him more involved somehow. I had the Cardinals winning though. Marquise Hollywood Brown looked good. I thought he was a good addition. Giving a first round pick for him was too much in my opinion, but he's been good, and I think he fits Kyler's skill set well. Kyler's still good regardless of like the memes and stuff. Maybe the Cardinals aren't as bad as I thought they'd be at the beginning of the season, so I'm gonna have them winning this game in a close one, 21-17. So next one, Broncos at Raiders. This is like the battle of like who's disappointed the most. Sorry, that was a cheap shot. But I have the Raiders finally getting a dub, 21-20. And I have Max Crosby getting hot. Like the Raiders, specifically Crosby and Chandler Jones. I was expecting that to be like a powerhouse, like 30 sack duo at the end of this season. Chandler Jones has been like non-existent, and I haven't really heard Max Crosby's name. So Max Crosby needs to, get it together. Well, I think he's going to get sacks eventually. This Raiders team is too good to be 0-3. Uh Josh McDaniels is already on the hot seat, and this is it. Like, I don't think he's getting another head coaching job if this team flames out. I think they're gonna get Hunter Renfrow back. Um, Devontae Adams was in the media saying stuff. I think I forgot what he said, or he said he was frustrated. I think. Um, yeah, I don't know if this Raiders team is going to be good enough to make the playoffs this year, but I guess the biggest talking point for the Raiders is if I'm understanding it correctly, is that Derek Carr got a new contract, but I don't know if any more money is guaranteed or there's very little guarantees left after this year. So if this Raiders, I mean, in the comment section, tell me if I'm wrong, but I read it someone saying this online, a couple people. And if the Raiders team is like bad this year, like top five pick bad, I think they're taking a quarterback because if this team goes 0-3 or it's real like the first overall pick bad or they continue this bad streak, like you got to take a quarterback. Like I think Derek Carr is good, but I'm not passing up a chance for Bryce Young or CJ Stroud or maybe in a Will Levis. Like you can't do that. And maybe that's going to make Devontae Adams mad. If it does, then you trade Devontae Adams for like another first round pick. But yeah, the Raiders got to get it together. They've been the most disappointing team so far. And on the other hand, the Broncos, they're 2-1, but it doesn't feel like they should be 2-1. Russell Wilson, I finally said, like, quoting Thanos, I think he said, fine, I'll do it myself at the end of the 49ers game. The Broncos offense is good, but I just don't think they're elite. Like, outside of Cortland Sutton, I don't really know if, like, anyone else has really stepped up and become, like, a Pro Bowl player. But I think this Broncos team can figure it out. The pass rush looked good. Um, I think Russell's still a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback. I think he's maybe regressed a little, but yeah, I think that the Broncos lose this game because I think the Raiders need to win bad, but I think it'll be a close one. So Raiders 21, Broncos 20 in Vegas. So home stretch here. Patriots at Packers. I have the Packers winning 21 to the Patriots 10. and I have Rashawn Gary as the impact player because I think Brian Hoyer is going to be under siege the whole game. Losing Mac Jones, that stinks. Like I think that this team is finally they're in the decline. They need receiving help badly. I mean, you're not going to trade, or I don't think you're going to draft another quarterback because I mean, Mac Jones has been pretty good so far. But you got to get like a Jordan Addison or a Jackson Smith and Jigba if they're there. You just got to help whoever. And another thing, uh, maybe he's not ready, but at this point, man, I just play Bailey Zapp or Bailey Zappi because Brian Hoyer is not going to be winning these games. I'm sorry, they ain't going to beat the Packers. He's going to get shredded against this Packers defense. I want to see someone that's going to air it out. Packers offense still doesn't look too good. They came to a sudden stall against the Bucks. But yeah, Packers 21, Patriots 10. The Packers, the running game has gotten going. Aaron Jones has gotten hot. AJ Dillon, that's a top 3 running back duo in the league. I think they're getting David Bakhtiari back, but I think this is going to be a defensive oriented team at least until the end of the season. So yeah, I have the Packers 21, Patriots 10. And I don't know if this is the Munich game. Maybe that's coming later. But Chiefs at Bucks, this was the hardest one for me to predict. I have the Chiefs 24, Bucks 21, and I have Chris Jones as my impact player. But this game's volatile because I don't know. I don't think Julio Jones playing. I don't know about Chris Godwin. Like all these game time decisions for the Bucks, like it's just too hard because like missing like they would have beaten the Packers, I think, last week because Mike Evans, that's a borderline Hall of Fame player. Chris Godwin's made a Pro Bowl. Julio Jones, even when he's at this age, is good. Like these are like players that are going to make or break games, even though you have Tom Brady. So if like Chris Godwin's playing, and then I'll probably say the Bucks are going to win. But I have the Chiefs because I don't think that the Chiefs are as injured, and I think that the O-line will have a better performance. But this game could go either way. Chris Jones is probably going to sack Brady a couple times, even though he gets the ball out quick because this Bucks O-line is injured, especially in the interior. But the Chiefs offense, they would have beaten the Colts if they hadn't made that Chris Jones penalty was so dumb. And then special teams issues, they're gonna get their kicker back. But this Chiefs offense, like this is the thing that scared me about the Tyreek Hill trade. I'm fine with the Tyreek Hill trade. Like I get he was a critical part of their offense, but paying a receiver 30 million a year, that's expensive. And I don't think Tyreek he's not a top 3 receiver. Like I will pay a top 3 receiver 30 million, but I don't think he's on Devontae's Adam because I don't think he can take over a game as consistently. Cooper Kupp's the best receiver in the NFL. He can do anything. And then maybe you make a case from top 3, but I just don't think he's worth 30 million, even though he's looked good for the Dolphins, which I expected. My issue with the Chiefs is how they spent the picks they got from Tyreek. Like Trent McDuffie's injured, so I can't say anything about him. George Karlaftis has looked good. Okay. But then Brian Cook in the second round, I don't know if he's played. Sky Moore hasn't really, I don't think he's really lived up so far because I know I'm not going to name him, but one Dallas analyst said that Sky Moore was going to get 1,000 yards, which he could. This guy knows what he's talking about, but like Juju Smith-Schuster is not a number 1. Okay. Your tight end cannot be your number 1 receiver either. The Marquez Valdes-Scantling contract made no sense to me. I don't know why you're paying 30 million for a number 4 Packers receiver. I mean, he was number 4 on that team because he wasn't as good as Adams, Cobb, or Lazard. I don't know what I don't get that in general. Like I'm not understanding why these teams are going out and paying these guys 10 million a year to get like 400 yards. Like the thing, like if you're gonna just do that, they should just gone out and paid Christian Kirk what he wanted, to be honest, or like paid Michael Gallup like 2 million more than the Cowboys. The Chiefs need to get receiver help, and this is another point I'll make. Like if the Panthers are tanking this season, the Chiefs should trade for David Moore or DJ Moore. Like maybe they don't have to give up a first. Maybe you can give up a second and a third for DJ. Sorry, my lips are dry. Like I'm sick. Sorry about that. But like if the Panthers are telling the league, hey, we're tanking for CJ Stroud or Bryce Young at the end of the season. If I'm the Chiefs, I'm making the call for DJ Moore because this team needs a number one receiver, not tight end receiver, because I just they're not as explosive anymore. Like they should have traded up in this last draft for like Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Drake London. That's the thing with these picks. Like if you're gonna ship off a player for a haul, you got to make the most of it. You got to address the holes because George Karlaftis is good. Trent McDuffie is probably going to be good. Brian Cook hasn't done anything. You could have gotten a better receiver than Sky Moore as of up to this point. So I think the Chiefs still can make the Super Bowl. It's too early to, I mean, like get on these teams too hard. But right now, I have the Bucks as a Super Bowl favorite. The NFC East is bad overall. The Bucks defense is the best in the league, in my opinion. Tom Brady's the GOAT. He's going to want to go out with a win. Their offense is weapons. I think they're the second best skill positions with like Leonard Fournette, and etc. But yeah, let me get to the final game. But I have Chiefs winning 24-21. But this is up for y'all's interpretation. Like I couldn't really come up with a good score for this. Last game of the season, Rams at 49ers. I have Cup. I'm just gonna put Cup as the MVP every week because he's the only guy that gets targeted. I don't know what Allen Robinson's done. Cooper Cup's always gonna get his points. I mean, he's gonna get targeted double-digit times at least a game. Uh, Jimmy Garoppolo had the doofus play of the last decade, running out the back of the end zone. I mean, you got to feel for 49ers fans, even though I don't like them, that Jimmy G's decent, but I mean, he was bad against he was bad against the Broncos. Like you invested 3 first-round picks into Trey Lance. They need to pray that Trey Lance pans out. Because if he does not pan out, that is the biggest bust in NFL history. Even though he's a good guy, he's not like a Ryan Leaf or a Jamarcus Russell who doesn't give a crap. You have to pray that or whatever, even if you're not religious, you got to just hope in that case then that Trey Lance pans out. Because this team is not going to win anything with Jimmy Garoppolo. I'll come out and say it. He is a decent quarterback, but when the game's on the line, either you need to get either you need to sign Jonathan Taylor or draft Bijan Robinson and then trade for DJ Moore, trade for CeeDee Lamb, and then fill up your O-line to help Jimmy Garoppolo out. Because I don't know if this guy is going to win you a Super Bowl. But back to this game. I think the Rams are going to win 21. Cooper Cup's probably going to go off. I mean, like I said, at this point, it's obnoxious how good the dude is. Matthew Stafford's got to look for other players. Maybe they're not getting open, but the team's still good. Outside of that week 1 performance where they were dreadful, I mean, it's probably like a top 5 roster in the league. Excuse me. Aaron Donald's probably going to feast. They might get some sacks because Trent Williams is out. That's another thing too. When Trent Williams, I've heard that I think his cap's going to kick in soon, and he's getting up there in age. They gotta worry about that too. You might need, if you're the 49ers, you might need to start trading away future assets for the now because you got to help this team out still. They're still one of the top 3 coach teams in the league. Kyle Shanahan is arguably the best coach outside of the 4th quarter of the Super Bowl. Sorry. Cheap shot again. But yeah, I have the Rams winning this time. I think it could go either way because I think both of these teams are not at their peak right now. But yeah, Rams at 49ers 21-17, Cup. Once again, never bet against the guy. And yeah, that's it. I don't know how long this was, but man, maybe next time I'm not gonna make it this long. My voice is already giving up. My lip is dry. I think I have a sinus infection. But yeah, sorry I missed last week again. It was too late by the time it was too late for me to do a video at that point. I'm gonna try to get back on track with these. I like giving more of an in-depth analysis on each team rather than just like predicting the game itself. Maybe I can make those other videos. Um, but once again, like if you're a fan of these teams watching, for most of these teams, it's like too early to decide who's making the playoffs for the most part, who's going to win this, let alone who's going to win the Super Bowl. I wouldn't panic yet. Once you get to the middle of the season, that's probably when you can start panicking. Like if you're a Raiders fan, but yeah. Once again, it's too early. Uh, enjoy football. Like I know I need to enjoy. I get way too worked up with these games, man, especially these refs. But yeah, thanks for watching. See y'all next week. Peace.